Watch this black pickup truck carefully. It parks near a gas station, and a couple who seem to be arguing steps out of it. Suddenly, the woman throws a can of soda at the man. Angrily, he appears on camera pouring a liquid over her, and out of nowhere, the woman catches fire. Horrified by the scene, bystanders immediately call the police.
Hello, the police.
Somebody just set a woman on fire behind Speedway on Ziegler Road.
I don't have this set a woman on fire.
Later, the woman is identified as 33-year-old Judy Malinowski, who is in critical condition and fighting for her life. Her boyfriend, Michael Slager, is also in the hospital with minor burns on his hands. He claims that everything was an accident and that he was trying to light a cigarette when Judy suddenly caught fire. Little did he know that Judy would survive and testify at the trial for her murder.
And I'm ready to testify.
He ran around me and started pouring gasoline, started at my head and worked his way down. Some got through my throat as he did that. That hurt really bad.
Judy Ann Hensel was born on August 26, 1982, to parents Bonnie and Thomas Hensel in Columbus, Ohio. She completed her high school education at New Albany High School, graduating in 2001. During her time there, she gained popularity, earning the title of Miss New Albany and being crowned the homecoming queen. Judy was beautiful inside and out, always prioritizing the needs of others. Her life took a difficult turn when she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer at a young age, but she bravely fought and overcame it. After high school, Judy pursued higher education at Ohio State University, where her charisma extended beyond academics. At the age of 22, she married a man named Ron Malinowski. Though the specifics of their marriage are somewhat unclear, their family soon grew. In March 2004, she gave birth to her first child, a daughter named Kin Malinowski. 3 years later, in September 2007, her joy was doubled with the birth of another daughter, Madison Malinowski.
People can just say, like, I love you and all, and, like, not always mean it. But for my mom, like, I always knew that she, like, actually loved me.
However, the end of 2007 marked a turning point when Judy discovered that Ron had been unfaithful. This revelation led to their separation, and it was the beginning of a series of unexpected challenges. At this time, Judy's ovarian cancer returned, and doctors had to perform a total hysterectomy. Judy triumphed over the cancer once again. However, her trials were far from over. The late 2000s in America saw a surge in the prescription of opioid drugs, leading to widespread addiction. Judy was among those affected. During her recovery, she developed a dependence on pain medications.
She had told me, Mom, I'm getting addicted to this pain medicine, and I said to her, Judy, it's fine. I'll never forget it. I said, just take them as the doctor prescribes them. So it says 4 a day, take 4 a day. It's fine.
Despite support from her family, the situation worsened. When her insurance stopped covering the medication, Judy turned to street drugs, particularly heroin. The consequences were severe. Not only did her health decline, but her relationship with her family and daughters also suffered significantly.
We knew my sister, when she was in her addiction, couldn't care for the girls the same way. And so I had helped with Maddie, and then my mom had Kaylee full-time.
I realized that she was a binge user, and she would go and use and self-medicate whatever she needed.
Over time, Judy realized that her impulsive choices were deeply affecting her daughters. Determined to change, she made the pivotal decision to enroll in Ohio's Parkside Rehab Center. In a short span, she achieved sobriety, secured an apartment, and stabilized her income. Life finally seemed to be turning around.
I think for the first time throughout her whole addiction, I felt like I had my sister back.
However, through social media, Judy reconnected with Michael Slager, an acquaintance from her ex-husband's circle. Michael, commonly known as Mike, initiated contact with Judy through a Facebook message, telling her that he had always had feelings for her, but couldn't express them while she was married. Their interaction quickly evolved into a romantic relationship in April 2015.
I would say dote her, like just messaging her and just everything I guess a girl wants to read, especially, where Judy was in her life.
Judy's mother, Bonnie, was not in favor of the relationship and expressed concern about Judy's daughters being in close proximity to Michael.
He came over to my home and he pulled in my driveway and he wanted to speak to me. He said, just because I have tattoos or I look the way I look, that doesn't mean I'm a bad person. If you're a Christian and you have love, why are you judging me by my tattoos? And I thought, wow, he's probably right. Jesus wouldn't want me to do that. But so I kind of fell in from that moment on, like, okay, back off, Bonnie.
Bonnie sensed something was wrong, but Judy and her family were unaware of Michael Slager's extensive criminal record at the time.
Domestic violence, menacing, aggravated menacing, making a false police report, domestic violence, aggravated menacing, assault, aggravated menacing, domestic violence, assault, domestic violence, assault, domestic violence, endangering children, domestic violence, endangering children, which was, I think, pled down to a sexual battery.
Michael was an extremely dangerous individual, and it didn't take long for him to reveal his true colors. Within just a few months, Michael became possessive and abusive. In an attempt to manage the situation, Judy found herself slipping back into drug use. Shockingly, Michael began bringing drugs to her despite not using them himself. Judy's life was spiraling out of control once again, and the once bright future she had fought so hard to rebuild was now in jeopardy. Her family believed that Michael's manipulation was a deliberate tactic to control Judy. As long as she needed drugs, she'd keep coming back to him, trapped in a vicious cycle of dependence. There were times when Michael went as far as choking Judy, leaving her in fear for her life. Judy confided in her friends and family, expressing her genuine concern that Michael might kill her if she ever tried to leave him. He even attempted to turn Judy's mother against her, further isolating her.
He honestly started to play me. She's on drugs. I don't think I can wake her up. I don't think I can wake her up. You better call 911. As time went on, there was more and more of this. He would call me and say, she didn't come home. How dare her? So I started thinking, bad Judy.
Michael not only physically abused Judy, but also threatened her life regularly. The situation escalated to the point where law enforcement had to intervene multiple times. Michael often made the calls, but there were also instances when Judy herself contacted the authorities. Despite nearly a dozen domestic violence reports from their apartment, no charges were ever pressed. Judy tried to end the relationship several times, mirroring the pattern seen in many cases of abuse where victims struggled to break free. Yet, despite her efforts, she found herself drawn back to Michael time and again. Judy's mother had warned Michael to stay away from her daughter, but he continued to live in Judy's apartment. Judy even sought help from law enforcement, but her history of drug abuse seemed to undermine her credibility. Tragically, Michael exploited this vulnerability to his advantage, knowing that Judy's pleas for help might not be taken seriously. For Judy, the only way to escape both drugs and Michael was through rehab. Finally, in August 2015, Judy was accepted into a drug rehabilitation program at Parkside Rehab, where she was informed that a bed was available. Michael volunteered to drive her there, and on Sunday, August 2, 2015, he took her to the rehab center. However, Judy wasn't fully prepared to start her rehabilitation immediately. She wanted to connect with her family, explain her situation, and have one last interaction with her children before being admitted to the facility. She also intended to buy cigarettes before arriving at the rehab center, where smoking was allowed. As a result, they decided to leave the center temporarily and return later. On their way back, they stopped at the Speedway gas station at 376 Agler Road in Gahanna, Ohio. Judy also wanted to take a break from the ongoing argument she had been having with Michael during the journey. Little did she know that her life was on the verge of a devastating turn.
Somebody is on fire. Can you tell me who did this? Like, there's a guy that's out there who's standing out there still. He's in a boiler black truck. He has tattoos all over him. He's still here. What did he do? Like gasoline? What did he do?
Up to her like they were arguing. She dropped her bags on the ground, and then he pulled up and walked up to her with a lighter or something to light a cigarette, and she I don't know what happened, something was all over her. She just ignited immediately.
The girl was sitting in the grass, and he got out, and he threw something. All of a sudden, she was on fire.
We've already
got to call. The fire department's on the way.
The police are there? I think the police are here. Okay.
The police arrived at the scene immediately. Judy and Michael were transported to the Ohio State University's Wexner Medical Center for treatment, and Judy's family was quickly notified.
I got that phone call. Are you Judy Malinowski's mom? And I remember thinking, what a strange question. And they said, this was the hospital and we have your daughter, that I should come now.
As Judy lay in a coma, barely holding on to life,
burns to her degree. I can't say I've seen many that have survived.
Michael Slager sat on a bed just a few feet away with burns on his hands. At that moment, they had no idea what had happened and could only assume that it was an accident. The story he told the police raised questions about what really happened. According to Michael, Judy had filled up the truck with gas and accidentally spilled some on herself. He claimed that when he went to light a cigarette for her, she suddenly caught fire. His story made it seem like a tragic accident, and without Judy's side of the story, the investigators initially viewed Michael as innocent.
We were concerned with Judy passing and us not getting anything on the record. I wanted Judy's voice to be heard as quickly as possible. Doctors and nurses are looking at you like, do you want to bring this person out of sedation?
Judy, can you hear me?
However, at the investigators' request, Judy was brought out of her artificial coma, even though it meant she would experience excruciating pain again.
Are you hurting right now? Okay. All right. Would you mind if someone asked you a couple questions about what happened? Stay calm, Jude. Stay calm, baby.
I remember leaning in to talk to her, and I don't even know if she can hear me.
Judy, this is Detective Phil Hagan with Hannah. Can you hear me? Yeah. Judy, did you spill gas on yourself? No. Did Mike spill gas on you? Yes. Yes? Okay.
When asked if she could answer a few questions about what happened, Judy nodded twice, indicating she could hear and understand those around her. With her response, the police gathered the information they needed to further the investigation.
The police said that they were going to arrest Michael. I didn't understand.
So what, am I under arrest or something?
Right now, yeah, you are under arrest.
What am I being charged with?
You're going to be charged with felonious assault and aggravated arson.
Crucially, the entire incident had been captured on a nearby ATM camera, and the investigators had already seen the footage.
Just be direct with me too, Mike, okay? So we saw exactly what happened. We saw you pour gasoline over top of her head. She stumbles to the ground. You lean over and light her on fire. We saw what happened. We know what happened.
That's not the way that looks. We're arguing. She threw pop on my face, and then we was going back and forth with it. And then she come in and spit in my face, and I said, "Oh, we're here. You want to ruin my stuff up?" I said, "Here, boom, I'm gonna ruin your clothes." It wasn't to start her on fire or nothing. You know what I mean? It was just to ruin her clothes.
Right. Yeah.
So we knew right away that he had lied to us.
While Michael was advised by his attorney, doctors worked tirelessly to save Judy.
In this case, where I thought that there was some doubt, was to whether he knowingly caused serious physical harm.
In most cases, burn victims with injuries as severe as hers don't survive more than a few days. Yet, month after month, Judy clung to life, enduring endless surgeries. As she remained unconscious, her mother, Bonnie, feared that Judy might never wake up. Bonnie reflected on how all Judy had ever wanted was a simple life, to have 2 children, and share a home with a loving husband. Though Judy had become a mother at 21, she was still waiting for that love she longed for.
People can just say, like, I love you, not always mean it. But for my mom, like, I always knew that she, like, actually loved me.
When I was a little kid, I would look at my mom, and I just want to grow up and be like her.
We were playing the delay game. It sounds terrible, but we were basically waiting for Judy to die so that we could charge Mr. Slager with the homicide. And we got a call one day that she was awake.
Judy eventually woke up from her coma, but she was confused and terrified, with no memory of what happened after the fire.
I'm going to start by asking you your name.
Judy Malinowski.
Do you know how many surgeries you've had?
Over 50.
And you're aware that you have coded 7 times, correct?
Yes.
You understand the prognosis is not good, correct?
No.
But you're fighting against it, right?
Yes.
It had to be explained to her that Mr. Slager was in jail. I remember her being emotional about that. She actually felt bad for Mike at that point.
While she was concerned about Michael, she was also filled with fear of what he was capable of. Little did she know that Michael had shown no remorse for his actions or concern for her well-being. It was the spring of 2016 when Judy woke up in the hospital. For the first time since the attack, her daughters and siblings would be able to see her. They braced themselves for the shock of seeing her in such a condition.
When I walked in, I definitely was like, that's not my mom. You just don't believe that that's who they're telling you it is.
There was surgery was in the hospital bed. And the surgery said it was gonna be alright. And she asked me for a hug. I said, no, you're hurt. I didn't want her to get hurt.
Although Bonnie was overjoyed that her daughter was finally awake, Judy's battle was far from over. By December 2016, the trial began. Since Judy was still alive, Michael was only charged with aggravated arson and felonious assault. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Michael continued to claim that the fire was an accident. Judy knew there was more to the story, but for the time being, the defense believed she wouldn't be able to testify in her condition, so they entered a plea of not guilty. Without her testimony, there was a real possibility that Michael could escape justice. However, Judy's condition began to improve.
She wanted to tell her story. I think she wanted somebody to finally listen to her.
This might be her only chance to testify. If she survived, Michael could evade a murder charge, but if she died, her testimony would be on record as evidence against him. And then something happened.
You previously entered not guilty plea and pleading a no contest plea in this matter.
Correct, Your Honor.
Slager changed his plea from not guilty to no contest. In that way, he avoided a trial, and she was not able to testify.
He silenced her again. Nothing we could do. What are you going to do?
The Gahanna woman doused with gasoline and set on fire. She will never get the chance to testify against her ex in court.
And the judge sentenced him to 11 years in jail.
The maximum sentence Michael could receive for dousing Judy in gasoline and setting her on fire was 11 years, shockingly similar to the penalty for setting a car on fire.
Judy has a life sentence, and her children have a life sentence, and with domestic violence, it's ugly, it's cruel.
Mrs. Bose was correct when she said this girl has a life sentence. And you've done it, and you haven't been sorry. You've done all the things that really show what a despicable individual you are. You really do seem like one of those people that have no soul, and you need to be incarcerated. That's all I have to say. Take him out.
Over a year had passed since the attack, and every day Judy fought to survive. Michael's sentencing was a blow to Judy, who felt she hadn't received the justice she deserved. Despite her deteriorating health, what kept her going was the thought of her daughters.
I can't. It's not fair. It's so hard when he just isn't even remorseful for anything. I don't mean to break down, I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard to stay strong, but it's just so hard.
There was this part of her that wanted to make it and to live, to fight for every other woman that had been through something like that. And she was willing to do whatever she needed to do to help change the law.
Judy's law would increase the maximum sentence for intentionally disfiguring someone by up to 20 years. It's named after Judy Malinowski, who is still fighting to stay alive after being set on fire a year and a half ago.
Although the law wouldn't be retroactive, meaning it wouldn't affect her case, Judy continued to fight for other survivors of domestic violence.
This was a miracle that she survived that with her spirit intact. Her will to want to help other people intact. I just think her body was giving out before her spirit.
Doctors say they really have no medical explanation as to how she is still alive.
As Judy's condition worsened, it became clear that she would likely die soon. Bedridden, her doctors focused on minimizing her pain. Bonnie, who had been by her side throughout, faced the hardest struggle of letting her child go.
Although they don't give her much time, even if God takes her, she'll always be here.
As the possibility of a murder trial grew, prosecutors approached Judy and Bonnie with an unprecedented idea: to have Judy testify to her own homicide. It was a long shot, as no one had ever testified to their own homicide in the United States. The only caveat was that Judy would have to be taken off her pain medication to maintain full mental clarity.
It hurts so bad. I don't want to do it. I have to.
Despite the challenges, Judy Malinowski was allowed to testify about her own death in the trial of her accused killer, a case that drew national attention.
Judy Malinowski will be allowed to testify about her own death in the trial of her accused killer.
This will be the first time that a victim was allowed to testify from the grave.
Tell me your name and then you're ready to testify.
Hi, my name is Judy Malinowski, and I'm ready to testify on Thursday.
After nearly 60 surgeries and 2 years in the hospital, Judy was moved to a care facility, no longer receiving medical treatment. On June 27, 2017, Judy Malinowski passed away, having survived nearly 700 days after the attack. She left behind her 2 young daughters, her siblings, and her mother. Franklin County prosecutor Ron O'Brien called the case unprecedented, and Michael Slager was now charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated murder. If found guilty, Slager could face the death penalty. As Michael Slager prepared for his trial, he had no intention of pleading guilty. His lawyers worked tirelessly to keep Judy's testimony out of the trial.
We'll fight like heck to keep that testimony of the victim excluded from any jury trial.
Attempting once again to silence her. Bonnie was furious, knowing that if Judy's deposition wasn't admitted, all the pain she endured to deliver her testimony would have been in vain. Yet, there was new hope that not only would justice be served in Judy's death, but that her own voice would be heard in court. On July 5, 2018, the courtroom prepared to view Judy Malinowski's 3-hour testimony. Her mother, Bonnie, was there, as were her daughters, Kaylin and Madison. They all waited anxiously to hear Judy tell her story.
Could you please raise your right hand to the extent that you possibly can? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this deposition will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as you shall answer to God or under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you.
Now, Sunday, August 2nd, 2015. Do you recall that day?
August 2nd, 2015, yes, I do.
So when you were with Mr. Slager, you indicated that the 2 of you stopped at Speedway. What did you stop there for?
To get cigarettes. We were arguing back and forth. Neither one of us were very happy with each other.
While he went inside, you got out of the truck and went behind that Speedway. What happened as you stood behind that Speedway?
Mike came in a matter of no time at all around in his truck. He saw me and immediately slammed the truck to the park, got out, demanded that I got into the truck with him, called me all sorts of names. We argued for a good 5 to 10 minutes, and then I threw my pop on him.
You threw a pop on him?
Yes. He was extremely upset. He ran around to the other side of his truck, and he got his tons of gasoline that he had kept in the back of his truck. He ran around to me and started pouring gasoline, started up my head and worked his way down. Some got through my throat as he did that.
What's his demeanor as he's pouring the gasoline on
you? Evil, just completely evil. He's not responding to any of my cries for help. Like, you want to throw a cop on me? See what I'll do to you, bitch. And how do you like this? I looked at him and he pulled a lighter out of his pocket, and he started walking towards me. And I just remember crying and begging for help. And he let me on fire, and the look in his eyes his eyes went black, literally. I thought for sure I was dying. I just prayed to Jesus to please forgive me for my sins and to take care of my children. And
Did you at any time produce a cigarette and ask for a light?
no,
Okay. A matter of fact, did you have any cigarettes on you?
no.
As Judy's voice filled the courtroom, her fight was far from over. The defense cross-examined her, trying to portray her as unreliable by digging into her past, speaking of her addiction, and questioning her judgment. But Judy stood strong, pushing back as best she could, even as she grew weaker.
Can you tell us what you were wearing that morning of August the 2nd?
I don't remember.
You remember getting dressed that morning?
No, I don't. I don't remember a lot of things, but I wish I.
It would be fair to say that the trauma you've suffered has affected your memory?
Yes.
Say that it has affected your ability to recall events accurately.
I'm trying to rephrase that.
Would you agree that because of the trauma that you have suffered, your ability to recall events accurately has been compromised?
My ability to what?
Recall events. Remember things.
I can recall the events, but the many details of them is what's hard for me to recall. You have to understand, on August 2nd, I was set on fire, thrown on the ground, and burnt 95% of my body.
I understand. I appreciate that. Man, I just remember walking out thinking, that was awful. That was horrible. I didn't want to do it. I felt bad for her from day one. I mean, I absolutely felt bad for her.
3 hours of questioning. I couldn't interrupt. I couldn't knock on the door and see if she was okay. And when I went in there, she just grabbed me as best she could. And her entire burned body just shook.
The question remained, would her testimony be enough to secure justice for Judy? Her family and the prosecutors pushed for the death penalty, knowing that Michael had shown no remorse for his heinous act. He had taken their loved one in cold blood and only cared about saving himself. Before the trial ended, the court listened to one final clip of Judy, a crucial piece of evidence that could determine Michael's fate.
Judy, I would just like you to state here, if you were to die from your injuries and Mr. Slager were to be convicted of having done that, I want you to tell a future judge what you want to see happen to Mr. Slager.
I would like to see him charged with murder and do a life sentence. I think that he deserves that.
In that clip, Judy refused to seek vengeance. She had proven that even after everything she endured, she was nothing like Michael. She fought for what she believed in until her last breath.
Sir, what's your plea to one count of aggravated murder without the capital specification?
Guilty.
You understand that it is a complete admission of guilt in this case?
Yes, sir.
You will spend the rest of your natural life incarcerated.
Malinowski gets her wish. Slager avoids the death penalty, but will go to prison for life.
In the end, Judy got her wish. While Slager avoided the death penalty, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Judy Malinowski fought to the very end, not just for herself, but for every other victim of domestic violence. She made her mother proud, inspired her daughters, and left behind a legacy of courage and resilience. Judy's daughters, Kaylin and Madison, have carried on their mother's fight, leading to the passing of Judy's Law. This law extends sentences by 6 years in cases like Judy's, where an accelerant such as gasoline is used.
She was really brave.
I admire her strength, and I definitely hope that that strength lives on through me.